108 in 1998. Park history. Cape Sable seen from Sentinel-2 satellite. Floridians hoping to preserve at least part of the Everglades began to express a concern over diminishing resources in the early 20th century. Royal Palm State Park was created in 1916 and protected Paradise Key. It included several trails and a visitor center several miles from Homestead. Miami-based naturalists first proposed that the area become a national park in 1923. 5 years later, the Florida State Legislature established the Tropical Everglades National Park Commission to study the formation of a protected area. 76. The commission was led by Ernest F. Coe, a land developer turned conservationist who was eventually nicknamed Father of Everglades National Park. 77. Coe's original plan for the park included more than 2 million acres, 3,125.0 square mi, 8,093.7 km2, including Key Largo and Big Cypress, and his unwillingness to compromise almost prevented the park's creation. Various other interests, including land developers and sport hunters, demanded that the size of the park be decreased. 76. The commission was also tasked with proposing a method to raise the money to purchase the land. 78. The search coincided with the arrival of the Great Depression in the United States, and money for land purchase was scarce. 79. The U.S. House of Representatives authorized the creation of the new national park on the 30th of May, 1934. But the Act, H.R. 2837-80, which permanently reserved lands donated by public or private donation as wilderness, passed only with a rider that ensured no money would be allotted to the project for at least 5 years. 78. Coe's passion and U.S. Senator Spessard Holland's politicking helped to fully establish the park, after Holland was able to negotiate 1,300,000 acres, 2,031.2 square mi, 5,260.9 square kilometers, of the park, leaving out Big Cypress, Key Largo, the Turner River area and a 22,000 acre, 34.4 square mi, 89.0 square kilometers, tract of land called the Hole in the Door Nut. That was too highly valued for agriculture. Miami Herald editor John Pennycamp was instrumental in pushing the Florida legislature to raise $2 million to purchase the private land inside the park boundaries. 81. It was dedicated by President Harry Truman on December 6, 1947, 1 month after Marjorie Stoneman Douglas's book The Everglades, River of Grass was released. 82. The same year, several tropical storms struck South Florida, prompting the construction of 1,400 miles, 2,300 kilometers, of canals, sending water unwanted by farmers and residents to the ocean. 79. The park protects the last stands of pine rockland in Florida. The Central and Southern Florida Flood Control Project, C&SF, ways authorized by Congress to construct more than 1,000 miles of canal-sound flood control structures across South Florida. The C&SF, run by the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers, established an agricultural area directly south of Lake Okeechobee, and 3 water conservation areas, all bordered by canals that diverted excess water either to urban areas or into the Atlantic Ocean, Gulf of Mexico or Florida Bay. South of these man-made regions was Everglades National Park, which had been effectively cut off from its water supply. By the 1960s, the park was visibly suffering. The C&SF was directed to provide enough water to sustain the park. It did not follow through. 83. A proposed airport that would have dire environmental effects on Everglades National Park became the center of a battle that helped to initiate the environmental movement into local and national politics. The airport proposal was eventually abandoned, and in 1972 a bill was introduced to curb development in South Florida and ensure the national park would receive the amount of water it needed. Efforts turned to repairing the damage wrought by decades of mismanagement. The Army Corps of Engineers changed its focus in 1990 from constructing dams and canals to constructing purely environmental projects. 84. Regions originally included in Ernest Coe's vision for a national park were slowly added over the years to the park or incorporated into other protected areas. Biscayne National Park, Big Cypress National Preserve, John Pennekamp Coral Reef State Park on Key Largo, 10,000 Islands National Wildlife Refuge, and Florida Keys National Marine Sanctuary were all protected after the park's opening in 1947. Everglades National Park was designated an International Biosphere Reserve on the 26th of October, 1976. On the 10th of November, 1978, 1,296,500 acres, 2,025.8 square mi, 5,246.7 km2, about 86% of the park, was declared a wilderness area. It was renamed the Marjorie Stoneman Douglas Wilderness in 1997. 2. It was listed as a UNESCO World Heritage Site on the 24th of October, 1979, and as a wetland of international importance on June 4, 1987. 5. It was placed on the list of World Heritage in danger from 1993 until 2007 and then again in 2010. 85. The park was added again due to the continued degradation of the set, causing significant indications of eutrophication, for example algal blooms, negatively impacting the marine life, causing the U.S. government to request UNESCO and IUCN for assistance in development. 86. Restoration efforts. A little blue heron hunting in water near the Anhinga Trail. President George H.W. Bush signed the Everglades National Park Protection and Expansion Act on the 13th of December, 1989, that added 109,506 acres, 171.1 square mi, 443.2 square kilometers, to the eastern side of the park, closed the park to airboats, directed the Department of the Army to restore water to improve ecosystems within Everglades National Park, and direct Ed, the Secretary of Interior, to manage the park in order to maintain the natural abundance, diversity, and ecological integrity of native plants and animals, as well as the behavior of native animals, as part of their ecosystem. 87. Bush remarked in his statement when signing the act, "Through this legislation that river of grass may now be restored to its natural flow of water." 88. In 2000, Congress approved the Comprehensive Everglades Restoration Plan, SERP, a federal effort to restore the Everglades with the objectives of restoration, preservation and protection of the South Florida ecosystem while providing for other water-related needs of the region. 89. And claiming to be the largest environmental restoration in history. It was a controversial plan. Detractors worried that it relies on uncertain technologies, overlooks water quality, subsidies damaging growth and delays its environmental benefits. 90. Supporters of the plan included the National Audubon Society, who were accused by Friends of the Everglades and the Biodiversity Legal Foundation of prioritizing agricultural and business interests. 90. The namesake of Anhinga Trail dries its feathers. CERP projects are designed to capture 1.7 billion U.S. gallons, 6,400,000 m3, of fresh water every day, store it in underground reservoirs, and release the water to areas within 16 counties in South Florida. Approximately 35,600 acres, 55.6 square mi, 144.1 kilometer 2, of man-made wetlands are to be constructed to confine contaminated water before it is released to the Everglades, and 240 miles, 390 kilometers, of canals that divert water away from the Everglades are to be destroyed. 91. During the first 5 years of implementation, SERP was responsible for the purchase of 207,000 acres, 323.4 square mi, 837.7 square kilometers, of land at a cost of $1 billion. The plan aims to spend $10.5 billion over 30 years, combining 50 different projects and giving them 5-year timelines. 92. Everglades National Park was directly hit by hurricanes Katrina, Wilma, and Rita in 2005. Such storms are a natural part of the park's ecosystem. 1960s Hurricane Donna left nothing in the mangroves but standing dead snags several miles wide, but 30 years later the area had completely recovered. 23. Predictably, what suffered the most in the park from the 2005 hurricanes were man-made structures. In 2009 the visitor center and lodge at Flamingo were irreparably damaged by 125 miles per hour, 201 kilometers per hour, winds and an 8 feet, 2.4 m, storm surge. The lodge had been functioning for 50 years when it was torn down. Nothing is slated to replace it. 93. Park economics. Everglades National Park reported in 2005 a budget of over $28 million. Of that, $14.8 million was granted from the National Park Service and $13.5 million from various sources including SERP, donations, and other grants. 94. The entry fee for private vehicles in 2021 is $30. Of the nearly 1 million visitors to Everglades National Park in 2006, more than 38,000 were overnight campers, paying $16 a night or $10 a night for backcountry permits. 95. Visitors spent $2.6 million, 94, within the park and $48 million in local economies. 96. More than 900 jobs were sustained or created within or by the park, and the park added value of $35 million to local economies. 96. Leadership and administration. Everglades National Park has had 19 superintendents since it was dedicated in 1947. The park's first superintendent, Daniel Beard, 1947 to 1958, was also its longest serving. After Superintendent Beard, Warren F. Hamilton served between 1958 and 1963, followed by Stanley C. Joseph, 1963 to 1966, Roger W. Allen, 1966 to 1968, John C. Raftery, 1968 to 1970, Joseph Brown, 1970 to 1971, Jackie Stark, 1971 to 1976, John M. Good, 1976 to 1980, John M. Moorhead, 1980 to 1986, Marie Finnerty, Acting Superintendent, 1986, Michael V. Finley, 1986 to 1989, Robert L. Arnberger, Acting Superintendent, 1989, Robert S. Chandler, 1989 to 1992, Dick Ring, 1992 to 2000, Marie Finnerty, 2000 to 2003, Dan Kimball, 2004 to 2014, Sean Bench, Acting Superintendent, 2014, Bob Kremenaker, Acting Superintendent, 2014 to 2015, and finally Pedro Ramos, who was appointed in 2015 and continues to serve. 97, 98, 99, 100. The park was placed into Administrative Region I in 1937, when the regions were first established. Region I was retitled the Southeast Region in 1962, which was restructured into the Southeast Area in 1995. 101. The reorganized unified interior regions put it in the new Region 2. 102. Activities. The busiest season for visitors is from December to March, when temperatures are lowest and mosquitoes are least active. The park features 5 visitor centers, on the Tanyami Trail, part of US Route 41, directly west of